Good evening, everyone. I welcome the chief guest, all the professors and students on behalf of Department of Management Studies, DB Jain College. Let's start the program with a quote said by Anatole France. To accomplish great things, we must not only act but also dream, not only plan but also believe. Now, I request our HOD, Dr. A. Narmada, to deliver the welcome address and introduction of our chief guest.
Thank you, Lizzie. Good evening, students. I am Dr. A. Narmada, Head of the Department of Management Studies. It gives me immense pleasure to welcome all of you for the guest lecture organized by the Department of Management Studies. First of all, I would like to give you a few introductory lines about our chief guest, Mrs. R.V. Snigdhapreeti, Managing Director, Sasta Industrial Corporation, Chennai. She completed a Bachelor of Engineering in Electronics and Communication Engineering from Satyabama University, Master of Business Administration in Human Resource Management and Operation Management from Anna University, Master of Business Administration in Financial Management from University of Madras, LLB from Vikramasinghe University, MSc Psychology from University of Madras. Currently, she is pursuing PhD in Human Resource Management from Satyabama University. She has possessed several key skills and competencies such as strong leadership skills, new business development, comprehensive understanding of financial management and principles, entrepreneurial with commercial acumen and excellent management skills, a motivated team player who is result driven. The results oriented with positive outlook and clear focus on high quality and business profit. She is associated with Madras Management Association, Micro, Small and Medium Enterprises, Entrepreneurship Development Cell of Tamil Nadu, and National HRD Network and IIT, and member of Bar Council of Tamil Nadu and Pondicherry. She is also a motivated speaker from 2015 onwards. Once again, I welcome you, ma'am, for the wonderful evening. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. I now request our chief guest, Ms. R.V. Snigdhapreeti, Managing Director, Sasta Industrial Corporation, to address the gathering.
Thank you so much. First of all, thank you so much for inviting me, and thank you so much for giving a brief introduction about myself. Thank you so much, ma'am. Hi, one and all present here. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. Actually, I just wanna start my presentation with a small video so that you all can understand what is the agenda for today. And it is actually totally about your career. What are the skills that is need for your career growth, and what all the interview process that will be taken in almost all the corporate offices. Okay, so I just want to start my paper or my presentation with a small video so that you can understand how the how the process will be.
I think in the past there was an idea where employers would just wait to see what talent emerged from the pipeline. And now we're realizing that we have to help build the pipeline and make sure that we are involved in providing the skills that students need.
The trend that we see and what we're trying to impact is that The schools can only do so much in preparing students for the world of work, and that business and industry actually has a role in the education process.
The workplace is changing, and the way we prepare for work is changing as well. Employers are looking to get more connected to classrooms, and schools are looking for new ways to connect with employers. One key reason? They both recognize the need for students to learn employability skills like communication, critical thinking, and interpersonal skills that are so critical in today's workplace. The Career Technical Education team at Oakland's Fremont High School has found that the best way to teach them is in the context of careers.
What we do here is really try to tie in real world with like in classroom things, and it's really different than other places because we have such a close tie to all of our industry partners and who we work with that we know the experiences students are having, and some of us even shadow the students to know what it looks like. So we bring that knowledge into the classroom.
No one expects young people to acquire the necessary employability skills overnight. At Life Academy, they run a 3-year internship program with Oakland's Children's Hospital that introduces high school students to health professions.
For them to go out into the real world, they need more than just the content. And so we're working on them to develop the 21st century skills for success. And that's embedded within their curriculum.
It's about educators at the district level, at the college level, and industry coming together to ensure that students are graduating with skills that employers need and that young people need in order to be college ready, career ready, and really participate as a citizen in the 21st century.
But classroom learning, even if it's connected to the workplace, can take learners only so far. Nothing beats a real-world education on the job.
And one of the best ways to actually be work-ready is for people to prepare for and then have a great work experience with a mentor, with an entry-level job that enables them to build additional skills and get ready for those jobs either after they graduate or for the next level job up.
I think we can see that it would be very difficult to teach these kind of core human skills in a book or in a classroom. I think the ability to get out there and deal with the situations and see how they come. There are situations I'm sure every operator could talk to you about that there is no way you could have thought that was going to happen. And the way you deal with it is sort of that sum total of experiences you've had, and you can't begin to build that sort of kit of skills unless you're out there on the road.
At the Santa Clara Transportation Authority, they're using apprenticeships and mentoring as a way to equip coach operators with the kind of observation, listening, and communication skills that prepare them for the unpredictable.
Finding the happy medium between soft skills and technical skills is imperative. You have to have technical skills to complete the job at task, but you also have to have the soft skills in order to communicate with your coworkers.
Employability skills used to be considered soft skills, but the reality is they are hardcore business skills that make or break businesses and careers. And that is what has business leaders and educators so eager to collaborate.
Business has a role, and the role is more than advisor and critic. It's as participant in the education process, and that's what we're trying to move forward.
Such collaboration leads to skill gains and sometimes to better recognition of skills already attained.
To watch a young person be told how skilled they are by somebody else and they didn't know they were skilled before is something truly magical to watch.
Hi. I think now you can. Am I audible?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. I think now you can understand what is the bridge or what is the need from the education to the employability. Okay. So I just want to give a brief information about what are the skills that is needed for the employability from education to the employability level. Okay. So yes, here we go. So sorry, there is some technical issues. I'm so sorry. Our main topic is actually building competencies in young minds. So for the starters of for the for the students who are actually willing to get employed, the first thing or the first skill, what do you really think that they actually need? So that is what we are going to see today. What is the skill or what is the attitude that they need to present in front of the recruiter or the employers? Employability skill is nothing about the knowledge that is necessary for success in your career growth. That is the skill, that is the employability skill that we mostly say. See, there are few employability skills that is generally being seen by the recruiter or the employers, and they seek from the employees. Okay, the first and the foremost skill that all the recruiter will see from a student or the employee is a communication skill. Okay, the next will be teamwork. Next, self-motivating, or the person need to work without a supervisor or with a less interruption of a supervisor. The person need to be a problem-solving person. He needs to take decision making. He needs to have a capacity of taking decisions. He need to be more hardworking. The person need to have planning. He should always organize his stuff from his prioritize his things. That is the most important skill that all the employees will look about. Next will be the responsibility. The employers should never ever come back, or they should not go back for the responsibility. They should take a step ahead for taking the responsibility. And the person need to be adapted to the environment or to the particular situations. The person need to be flexible. No matter what, he needs to be very flexible to his work. And your character plays a very, very, very important role. You need to be honest. You need to be more precise to your things, and you should at least have some basic technical skills. Basic technical skills is more than enough, but your basic technical skills need to be perfect. And then comes your interpersonal ability. Got it? And then should be your self presentation. Then you should be a multitasker. You should never skip to one particular skill, or you should not skip to 10 to 1 task. You should be a multitasker in a time. You should have a positive attitude towards anything and everything. You should always have a self-confidence that you should always think that yes, we can do it, and yes, we are to it. Okay. And the most important thing is you should always have a leadership skills, and you should be aware of what you are doing, what are you saying, and what are you really up to. You need to be loyal to your employer and also to your co-workers. Got it? You should be professional, and you should always willing to learn. You should always learn. You every day you should learn something or the other in your life, in your business, in your employment, in and around yourself. You should always learn. Learning will never die. You should always learn something or the other in your life. And customer service skill is more important if you're opting marketing or customer service things. and you should generally have a common sense. See, these are the universally told skills that you should have for the employability. But the most common, there are totally 8 most common skills that are being seeked by the employees in our country. You can say like in anywhere, but still this 8 is very, very, very important. See, you should know to communicate. It is not like communication, it is not only by verbally. You should know to write. Okay, you should know to negotiate. You should know to read. You should use your numerical skills. You should be ability by using your network. You should know your sharing information, and speaking and writing in languages other than English need to be must. The next thing that employers will seek from the employee is teamwork. See, when you're not able to adapt to a team, it is very hard to survive in the industry. You should know to work with new workers. You should you should provide the feedbacks. You should also take the feedbacks from the others. You should share the ideas which you're getting, and you should work together with people to complete your tasks. And you should always know to or you should always know, or you should always understand the role in your team. And you should work with people irrespective to the gender, race, religion, and political preferences. The next thing will be a problem solving one. See, problem solving, it is like, first you need to understand the problem. Got it? And then you should clarify the problem, and you should try to come out with solutions. It's not with one particular solution. You should come out with 2-3 solutions. In from that you can brainstorm the solutions, and then you can conclude one particular solution. You should apply the solution, and you should get the problem problem need to be solved. You should always need to take initiatives in all the things which is being asked by your employer to do. Okay, the next thing will be planning and organizing. You should always plan, prioritize your things. You should always know how to prioritize your things. You should know what is important tasks, how you need to prioritize your stuffs. You should always manage yourself. Self-management is more important. No matter what, self-management is way more important. And as I said, learning. Yes, you should always learn. Every day you should learn something or the other in your life. According to the technology, you should know at least the basic skills of the technology, so that it will be easy for the employers to employ you in that particular things. Yes, see, these are the basic employability framework that I just wanna give you a brief thing, so that you can actually understand what the employer point of view, and what the employer thinks that what the employee needs to have if he want to recruit that particular person in their organization. Yes, the effective relationship, work-life skills, and applicable knowledge. These 3 are the main skills that the employer need to have, to recruit himself in that particular organization. Effective relationship is nothing but how effective or how useful or how are you able to communicate things to your co-workers, supervisors, and also to your clients. Work skill is nothing but how successfully you perform the task. Applied knowledge is nothing but what you learned in your college and how are you applying that in your workspace. Got it? The bridge between the education and also the employment is actually applying knowledge. Like whatever you learn, you need to apply it practically in the workplace so that you will know what you are. Effective relationship is like interpersonal skills and personal qualities. Okay, interpersonal skill is actually understanding your team, know your customer needs. You should have some leadership quality. As I said, you should always have the ability to solve the conflicts, and also individual see, every person is an individual, right? You should always respect the individual. The personal quality that you should have yourself is you should always have the self-discipline. You should be flexible. You should like to work independently. You should be willing to work or willing to learn new things. You should be more professional. You should be you should always take some initiatives so that even you're working individually or working in a team, if you take an initiative, that will always boost up yourself and also the person who is working around you. And you should always have a positive attitude towards everything. You should never ever self-doubt yourself. You should always have your self-worth, and you should take responsibilities to grow yourself and also the professional growth. Got it? The next will be workplace skills. The workplace skills have 5 different skills. That is resource management. See, resource management is very important in every organization. You can take service sector, you can take manufacturing sector, you can take any sector. The resource management, even there is a separate wing for the resource management in each and every sector, because resource management, without a proper resource allocation and the resource management, the organization cannot have a proper flow in their producing their things or manufacturing their things. Or even if you take in IT sector, resource management is way more important than any other management things. Like it is not like you should manage your time, but still see, you should always be in your time, right? So likewise, you should always complete your task in time. So managing time is important, managing the money is important, managing the material is important. Got it? And information use is like you should always know the location of the information. You should always grab or organize the information. You should use the information which you have collected. You should try to analyze the information, communicate the information to your co-workers or the other subordinates whom you're working with. See, next, the communication skill. As I said, communication, you should always have a proper verbal communication, and you should listen to things before you react, before you give anything. You should always have listening things. You should always have patience to listen, and then you should have at least a basic knowledge in writing. Like you should at least proper grammatical things, basic grammar, and you should know how to communicate your things. And you should always observe. You should always observe what things are going around you. System thinking is like you should at least know the basic of system. You should monitor, and also you should always improve your skills day by day. Technology use is like you should understand and use the technology wisely. That's more important. Got it? and applied academic skills is not, it is like your general, like reading, writing, mathematical skills, and also the scientific principles. The critical thinking skill will be thinking creatively, then making sound decision, solution, giving solution for the problems, reasoning, and also the planning. Yes, this is a basic structure for the employability skills framework. And how you should improve your skill, or how you should know this skill is needed, or how you should learn new things is, this is how START system need to be used to upgrade your skills. Need to think like situation is like, what is the particular situation, and in that particular situation, what do you really want, or what the other person wants from us. Then okay, if you find okay what they need or what you want to go for it, the next will be, what did you have to do, what do you have to do to solve it, or what do you want to do to learn the particular skill. Is like, you should always have a mark, and you should always have preparations for it. And if you know how to learn it, or if you know what to do for it, and go for the action, right? Once you got, once you're into the action, you will obviously get the result. And once the result is in the positive side, okay, go ahead, okay, then you can start the other one. You can learn the next skill, or you can learn the next which the employers need from you. If the result goes to negative, start from the situation, okay, then go for the task, activities, result. Yes. Do you have any clarification about the employee? If so, you can ask me, or else I can go for the next one. Anyone? Okay, no one have any doubt about whatever I asked right now? Okay, so can I go about the interview process, and what are the frequently asked questions, and how you should present yourself before the interviewer? And in this COVID time, all the interviews are being conducted in telephonic things. So can I, teach you tricks, and also how you should present yourself, do's and don'ts of your interview process?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Okay. See, okay. Once you are out of your college, the next step is employment, right? So for the employment, first thing is interview. Without an formal interview, formal or informal interview, you will not be placed into an organization. So before you, face an interview, you should always prepare yourself. Preparing for half an hour in your life, that can change your whole life. The truth about the interview is, 75% of the interview is based on your appearance and how well are you presenting yourself in front of the recruiter and also the employer. Preparation. So what is why preparation is need to the why does the preparation is need before the interview? Got it? See, it is like so simple. Without any preparation or without any pre-arrangements, whatever we do, it is not only about interview. Whatever we do, it will be in a negative. So we should always prepare yourself. We should always prepare, well. We should always prepare ourselves way more before the interview is being conducted. Okay. Pre-interview checklist is where the interview is conducting. What are you taking with you? Like your curriculum vitae. Some organization will also ask your original mark sheets, mark certificates, and your photos and all. What are you going to wear? This really matters a lot. And what are the frequently asked questions? You should always prepare yourself before you enter the interview panel. You should always know what are the frequently asked questions for the freshers and also for the experienced candidate. You should always have confidence on yourself and you should always be positive no matter what. See, the recruiter seek few things from you. It is like a basic communication. You should you should know to communicate. At least you should have a basic communication skill. You should always have confidence on yourself. You they actually like employee who is accepting the responsibilities. So they will see that one. You should always see be flexible. You should always say yes, I'll do it. Okay, if they are giving you any different shift or they are asking you to shift you from one state to the other or one place to the other, you should always say yes before rejecting the offer. And then you should always be a competitive. You should always run. And even you achieve your goals, you should always run. You should always be competitive with yourself. It is not like I don't want anyone to be competitive with the other person. You should always be competitive with yourself. They'll see, are you a person who is achieving the goals, who is achieving the things which are you actually into, right? And they'll see, are you taking any initiative? They'll see you, does you have any leadership qualities? And you should always have, you should always know to handle the conflict. And a basic knowledge of computer is much more enough. And yes, during the interview, so you should always arrive in the destination 15 minutes earlier. You should never ever hurry up, because in some organization they'll ask you to fill or when you hurry, when you are in a hurry, you may miss something. So you should always be calm. You should always be very attentive. So I really want you to be very relaxed, and I want you to arrive in the interview place before 15 minutes minimum. It's like minimum 15 minutes. And always the first impression, how are you appearing in front of the interviewer is, it is the matter the most. Okay, your dressing sense, that is very important. As I said, 75% of the interview is based on your appearance, and when it comes to appearance, dress comes the first, right? And then your body language, that is very much important when you are attending an interview. And make sure that you understand the job and the company well. See, when you're going for an interview, you will obviously know for what designation are you going to apply, or are you being interviewed? So you should always study well for the designation for which you are being applied or which you are being interviewed. So before knowing nothing, please don't ever go inside the interviewer panel. Got it? So always learn or always have a brief knowledge about the description and also about the company. And then see, as I said, the dress code. Dress code is very, very, very much important, and you should always have business like outfit. It is like you should always be very professional. You should always, if that is boys, you should always have clean shaved, and you should never smoke. You should always have you should always polish your shoes, and if possible you can wear tie, and you should have a neat nails, neat teeth. And also, if that comes for the girls, yes, they should not have more makeup. They should never ever or more makeup on them. They should never ever have more jewelries on them, and they should not have a strong perfume on themselves, and no jeans, no t-shirt. Yes. Okay. And the frequently asked interview questions will be, the first commonly asked question is like, tell about yourself. It is like when you should never take much time. You should not take for 5 minutes or it's like for each question you can actually take from 1 minute to 1.5 minutes. That is more than enough for the interviewer to know about yourself or to know about you. So the first commonly asked question will be, tell me about yourself. It is like you should always say about your past. 60 seconds about your past, like your name, where are you from, your parents, where did you study, what is your extracurricular activities, and so on. And 30 seconds need to be your future endorsement, like what you want to be, what is your future goal, what you end up in your life. And from the future goal, the questioner will get some point to ask you people. So the future goal, you should always have in your mind that you should be very clear and crisp on your future goals. The next will be, tell me about your life at college or university. Or if you are being experienced person, they will ask you about your future job and why did you quit your future job and what are you actually planning to do. It is you should always be very clear when you are giving this answer, because college and university are environment which provides lots of opportunities. Got it? So good application will be able to demonstrate that they have used opportunities to learn and develop themselves from the college or the university. And the next common question will be, what do you want to be doing in from now 5 years? Like they'll ask you, like, what do you want to be in 5 years from now? And you should always say, you should always talk about the organization. That when you are applying for the starting position, you should say that in 5 years I just want to be team leader in this organization itself. Got it? So only that give them a positive note saying that okay, you will not leave this organization in 1 to 2 years, because when the employer employs you in the organization, they cannot place you generally into the employment. So they will give you a basic training or the training which they need to which you need to know before you enter into the employment, and they will mold you according to whatever they want. So the training will generally cost much for them, so you should always assure them you will not leave the organization. So that is the main reason why they'll ask you this question very commonly. And the next question will be, what are your strengths? You should always give your best strength. See, most I have come across many resume in my life, and every resume we have the strength. We'll say problem solving skills, we'll say I'll be very flexible. When you are giving that in your curriculum vitae, you should be very clean in whatever you're giving, because the interviewer will ask you questions from that. So you should see, I hope all are you from the management studies, and I think that you have learned SWOT analysis: strength, weakness, opportunities, and threat. You should always know your strength. You should always know your strength. And the next will be, what are your weakness? See, you should not give all your weakness. You should not give the worst weakness of yours. You should give one or two weakness is hardly enough, but don't give the worst weakness of yours. Got it? And the next will be, how do you handle tension or stress? See, if they ask this question, you should not say, no, I can handle stress or tension, it is so easy for me. No, you should never ever answer the question like that. You should say, I will not get tense, I don't get stressed much because I organize my things, I prioritize my stuff, so I don't need to handle stress when it comes. Okay, so that is how you should answer your questions. You should always have a positive note, positive attitude when you're in front of the interviewer. So what type of people do you get on with the most? Okay, or the least is like, you should not say, okay, I get with introvert, or you should not say I'll get along with the extrovert. You should say I get along with everyone. Only then it is like we said, it's a team building, right? In a team you have n number of people, different types of people. So you should say like, yes, I get along with everyone. There is no issue with me getting along with people. And how do you plan and organize your work? It is like, you should always prioritize your work. You should know what is prioritizing and what is important task. You should prioritize accordingly, and you should organize your things, and then you should go for it. And do you make mistakes? Right? Okay, that is the next question. We are people, and we are humans, we are people, we generally tend to do mistakes. There is not even a single person without a mistake. But you should say a mistake that you have rectified yourself from it. Okay, and what personal goal do you have, and how are you going to about achieving them? And this need to be your future goals, and what you want to be, what you want to become, or what is your destination in your life. And the last question will mostly in all the organization will be, why we should appoint you. Okay, see, this question is very important, and it is mostly as in almost all the organization. The answer should be like, I'm sure that I have all the main attitudes and the role required, which combines with determination and positive approach, should ensure that I will be a good choice for your organization. Right? So this is how the questions will be. And the word of advice that I really want to give to you students is like, you should always have a copy of your curriculum vitae. See, and you should create your own curriculum vitae. See, you should never ever get the other person's curriculum vitae. Just change your name, address, photo. and submitting that to the organization. No, that is not right. You should always know what have you written, or what have you been communicated in the curriculum vitae, and everything should be perfect, should be real, should be original, and it should be yours. And you should always listen carefully to whatever they say. If you have any doubts, if you doesn't hear them, or if you have any problem, you can ask them very clearly. You can clarify your doubts. You can ask them questions too. That is not an issue. And when they're asking you some questions and you want to answer them, think before answering. And once you said it, you cannot take it back. So you should always be very, attentive, and you should always have a spontaneous things in answering. Okay, and answer actual questions. Know what, and it is like you should always know what you want to be. You should know yourself. Got it? It's like if you are in trouble, if you think you have said something wrong, you should apologize them. Apologizing is never a mistake. Just give up. Say, sorry, sir, I have did a mistake. Please forgive me. That will never ever give you any bad impression. Okay? Then you should never lie. You should not talk much. And when the interviewer is talking, you should not interrupt them. You should never ever lose concentration. And then you should not be late, as I said. Okay? And after the interview, you should always know what went well. Okay? You should think, once you're back from the interview, you should always prepare yourself, or you should recall your memory, so that it will be good if you are attending the next one, or if you wanna upgrade yourself more. It is like you should know what it did went well, and if you did something wrong, you should know what it is. And if you answered any question wrongly, you should try to learn that. And okay, in this, as I said before, in this COVID situations, we are actually taking a lot of telephonic interviews, right? We are hearing about telephonic interviews, video interviews, and all. In the telephonic interview, the first will be the preliminary screening. And not only in telephonic interview, in any interview, the first one will be the preliminary screening, and it will be unannounced or announced. It depends, okay? Even in different organization, they'll have one stage, second stage, third stage. It depends on the organization. Preliminary stage depends on each organization, okay? And then the next one will be the thing is like in the video, the next interview will be like in the video interview. In the video interview, you should have a proper internet connections, and you should have a proper face camera, and you should always listen before you're saying. Got it? And the tips for telephonic interview will be, you should always select a comfortable place, a private place, before you start an interview. You should always have your curriculum vitae at your hand. You should always know your company details. You should always carry your pen and paper. I really want everyone to, prepare yourself before interview, before you're attending the interview. And you can practice yourself in the phone once or twice. And you can be yourself. Okay? Being yourself is more important than anything else, because you can fake yourself for an hour, for 2 days, but not more than that. So be yourself, be confident. That's more important. And even for physical interview, telephonic interview, or in other words, I can say video call interview, body language is very important. Okay. Before enter the interview panel, you should always ask them the permission to enter the interview panel, and you should always have a comfortable seat. Before you answer or before you question anything, you should always sit comfortably, but you should not lean back. You should always sit comfortably, not relaxing position, in a comfortable position. You should not hold your hands, because holding hands will give a negative impression to the interviewer. They'll think that you are going to say something wrong or something like that. So you should never hold your hands. And you should always greet them. You should always be polite. You should always be in a lower voice and in your original voice. See, your qualification will only get you an interview, but your performance, your attitude, your skill will get your job. Okay, thank you. And the last, I really want to play a video so that you will understand what is the future is about. Okay, the last one, and then yes.
If you're watching this, you're among the 3% of people that understand that the future of work is going to look very different from what it is now. So keep watching. Let's see where we're heading. It's also exciting, right? Siri will recognize your voice even if you're 5 meters away from your phone. That new chatbot feels totally real. Self-driving cars are no longer fiction. You can analyze your DNA. You tried flying that drone for the first time, and you're thinking of buying a smart speaker to make your life so much easier. A few years from now, and that's something like 3 years, not 30, artificial intelligence, robotics, machine learning, mass 3D print, biotechnology, chatbots, virtual reality, deep learning, drones, augmented reality, smart objects will all be deeply enrooted in our everyday lives. Just like computers, phones, or electricity are for us today. Oh well, is this really going to happen? And if it does, you'll adapt when the time comes, right? Life is good. You love your job. You've been working for this established company for a few years. You're comfortable in your position. You know what you're good at. People like you, and that last presentation you gave got you some amazing reactions. You're safe with your company. In the meantime, you see an article or two speculating on the future of jobs. McKinsey published a report stating that 45% of all current tasks could be automated with present technology. The World Economic Forum estimates that 33% of jobs in 2020 don't even exist yet. But what do they know, right? You've got time. Oh look, the supermarket just introduced self-cashier machine. You're at the airport checking in luggage. What the heck happened to all the real people at the check-in desk? Gone. Replaced by machines. But it's only the low-skilled jobs, right? Nope, think again. In 2012, there were 150,000 humans working on Wall Street. 3 years later, automation has cut that number down to 100,000. That's 1/3 gone. But it's only the mathematical and scientific jobs, right? Nope, think again. This Japanese insurance company, Fukuoka Mutual Life Insurance, is already replacing all its human insurance claim workers with an AI system that will handle customers more efficiently. See these articles? They're written by algorithms, and we can't tell the difference with human written content. And thinking of converting yourself to being an online poker player? Too late. There's an AI that can already beat humans at it. Most journalists, tax consultants, marketeers, technicians, knowledge workers, lawyers, even the person editing this video right now will to some extent have been impacted or automated by technology in a couple of years. And what have you been doing? Probably watching Netflix. And the problem is, the machines don't wait. And the machines, they don't watch Netflix. So what are the forces at play here? Basically, there's 10 million developers out there using increasingly simple and cheap technology to build new products and services. Some as young as 12 are already coding the future. Even that safe company you work for is increasingly under outside threat. And it's not just the Google, Amazon, Facebooks, and Apples of the world that I'm talking about. There are now tens of thousands of startups out there eating away at all sorts of jobs. Now, are they creating many jobs in the process? Let's look at some stats. Travel a bunch of years back to when Kodak ruled the world of photography. They were worth $38 billion and employed 140,000 people. That's approximately $270,000 per employee.
Our people work with pride to make Kodak a creative, and innovative company.
Fast forward to recent times, YouTube sold for 1.65 billion with a mere 65 employees. That's $25 million per employee. Instagram, which had 13 employees and was sold for $1 billion. That's $77 million per employee. WhatsApp sold for 19 billion with 55 employees. That's a staggering 345 million per employee. So how is this all possible? Technology has allowed the emergence of what we call exponential organizations. These are exponentially fast-growing companies that leverage technology and require less employees, but more tech-savvy ones.
You will find that we are technology optimists. We believe that technology is a major driver of change in the world.
And as software continues to eat up the world, more companies are trying to replicate these exponential companies, hire less people, but grow exponentially through technology. As this happens, job roles are slowly disappearing and being replaced by skill sets. Employers require you to know an ever-growing number of new and ever-changing fundamental skills in order to use the technologies they've implemented. Master the fundamentals and you can master the rest. A digital skills gap is growing for both mid-skill and high-skill level jobs. Before you know it, you've become irrelevant. But wait, what's this doomsday message? There's actually a way to leverage technology before it leverages you. And in fact, it's never been easier to do so. This might sound kind of corny, but it starts with the right state of mind. It starts with having a growth mindset where you have the desire and the confidence that you can learn anything. Shift your thinking on how these technologies will rattle and mutate, but enrich your work life. Because yes, if you play your cards right, technology will make your work life and your life in general much, much better. The fact is that technology will actually remove boring, repetitive jobs from your way, but only if you understand the fundamentals. And you have no excuse not to do so. How can you stay relevant if you can't talk the lingo? How can you stay relevant if you can't execute? Can you talk tech? Can you talk APIs? Can you talk code? Can you talk data? While slow educational institutions are struggling to keep up, that's not an excuse. Train yourself. Take your education in your own hands. Learn to code. Learn about behavioral psychology, automation tools, playing with data, user experiences. Be curious. And if you're an employer, train your people. Online and offline courses have never been more readily available or rich in content. It's time to build something. Your greatest credential in this new era is your output of stuff. Proof of your awesomeness. A website, a blog, a prototype, a simple data model. It's time to build cool stuff and showcase it. It's time to start learning. It's time to get shit done. It's time for your growth.
So I really think that this lecture has been, informative, and it will be helpful for you to, break the bridge in between the employment and also the education. Any queries, you can ask me.
I think there's no queries, ma'am.
Okay, I think that the lecture is informative, and I think I didn't bore the students also.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you. Your thoughts have enlightened our young mind and have shown us a new path. Once again, thank you, ma'am, for gracing this occasion and sharing your opinions today.
Thank you.
Now, Professor G. Anbalahan will deliver the vote of thanks.
Thank you, madam. Good evening, one and all. It's my honor and privilege to be called upon propose vote of thanks on this occasion. On behalf of Department of Management Studies and DB Jain College, I extend my gratitude to our management, trust member, Professor in charge Dr. M. Shaktivel Murugan, Principal in charge Dr. C. Murugesan, Head of the Management Department Dr. Narmada, and other faculty members for this continued support and guidance in organizing this function. Next, my thanks to Ms. R.V. Singha Vritti for accepting our invite and grace to this occasion. Thank you for your motivational and inspirational speech, madam. Finally, I thank to students representative and volunteers who were directly or indirectly helped to make this session a great success. Once again, thank you, one and all. Thank you.
Thank you, sir, and thank you all.